Hey guys, OGL here, bringing you guys the next episode of our Draft League study. Today, we're going to be talking about Polteageist. I know it's been a minute since we've done the last Draft League study. That's completely my bad. I just had school start up recently, and I've just been a little bit busy to, create these slides to these and, kind of do the research and make the sets and stuff like that behind them. So I didn't want to necessarily just throw out a bad quality video. So we're going to be jumping back in now, though. We should definitely have more. And it's actually a pretty good thing, though, because I think that the draft meta has definitely kind of cemented itself a little bit more since the last couple that we've done. We're getting into the point where people are starting to figure out what mons do certain things, what cores are good together. And where mons really fall in the tiering scale and stuff like that. So I think jumping in now will definitely have even a better idea of what they do. But yeah, today, like I said, we're going to be talking about Polteageist, and I'm going to be honest, this is a mon I personally think is a little bit overhyped. I know a lot of people see the move Shell Smash and they think, wow, this thing wins. I don't think that's necessarily the case, so I have two kind of separate opinions on it. I think it's overrated in the sense of a Shell Smash sweeper. I think it kind of lacks the coverage, but we'll talk about that in a little bit here. And I think it's underrated as a utility Pokemon and all the utility that it really offers to a team. I think people aren't talking about that enough, so we'll definitely get into that as well. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump right into type stats and abilities. Polteageist is a pure ghost type. I know it has weak armor and Curse Body as its main two abilities. 60 HP, 65 attack, 65 defense, 134 special attack, 114 speed def, and 70 speed. So the HP, attack, and defense, all awful. Not very, very good at all. Definitely subpar. But that 134 special attack and 114 speed def is beefy. That is strong and bulky from those sides. The HP, like I said, kind of offsets that speed def stat, but regardless, this thing is immensely strong with that 134 special attack, especially if you do get that Shell Smash off. And then 70 speed, pretty middling, but if you double that, you're going to be outspeeding most Scarfers. And the cool thing for the utility roles that this Pokemon can fill is that it's going to outspeed most Fat, despite not having the best speed tier in the world. So that's obviously really, really good. Because you're going to see this thing has some pretty annoying support moves that can really benefit a team and help it out a lot here. But yeah, that's going to be the stats and stuff like that. I want to jump quickly into the moves that this thing gets. Right off the bat, you have Shadow Ball for stab, Shell Smash obviously to make it that threatening sweeper in the mid to late game. Stored power is actually really solid on this thing because if you take into account the +2/+2/+2 you get from Shell Smash, and then you take into account the potential additional +2 that you get from taking a weak armor hit. Say your Focus Sash, Scrafty comes in, you Shell Smash, you get up, those 6 boosts right there, and then it crunches you, and you go down to your Focus Sash, and then you're at +4 speed. Those stored powers are going to have a lot of base power. Obviously, you're not going to be able to hit the Scraggy with it, or the Scrafty with it, but nonetheless, it's just kind of a, scenario in which you would be able to master boost. So if you can kill the Scraggy after, you're obviously going to have a lot of power on those stored powers, which is pretty cool. Dark Pulse is a cool coverage option. I think I forgot to put it on the slide, but it also gets Giga Drain. Unfortunately, I think Giga Drain is like its best coverage to hit dark types, which is my main issue with this thing when it comes to Shell Smash sweeping. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit here. Next up, we have some support moves that this thing gets. It gets Baton Pass, so if you're playing in a league that allows unrestricted Baton Pass, like speed plus other stats, this might be your Pokemon. Which I think that's ridiculous. I personally detest the idea of Stat Pass. I think it's really, really uncompetitive. But that's just me. There's plenty of leagues who think the otherwise, and if so, I think this is definitely a great mon to grab because you can Smash Pass and pass it into some broken mon that's not supposed to be able to boost its speed and attack and stuff like that, which is pretty awesome. Also gets access to aromatherapy, which I think is pretty slept on in the fact that there's not a lot of clerics pre-home. So if you're playing post-home, that's not really a big deal. But if you're playing pre-home, you'll know that a lot of things lost Heal Bell, a lot of things lost aromatherapy, and Polteageist being one of the few that gets it is obviously super solid for it. Also has access to Will-O-Wisp, which can really help it out in that physical defense department if you're going to be a more bulky set. Obviously, your Speed Def is great, but your Fist Def is trash. So being able to burn things in half that attack, those attacks coming towards you is obviously super beneficial. And Hex really does pair well alongside Will-O-Wisp, as you know, just to get those, I think it's base 120 power Ghost Stab moves coming off there, which can be really strong. It also works well on T-Spikes builds. Say you have a Drapion and your opponent doesn't have a Grounded Poison, you set up a layer, you're going to have 120 base power hexes going off pretty much against everything, which is, again, very solid. Some other moves that it gets, Nasty Plot, not going to be as good as Shell Smash, I won't lie, but I do think it has its niche uses, and I actually have a set in particular I want to talk about a little bit, so I'll save that for then. Foul Play is nice for those physical setups, the ones that think they can just, set up on you to the edge of the earth. That's obviously super nice. Sucker Punch doesn't seem like it'd be great when you have 65 base attack, but if you Shell Smash up, it's not the worst thing in the world. Say you're like a naive or a hasty nature or something like that, you get +2. Sucker Punch can still definitely hurt when you double that attack. Again, not going to be the most useful thing, but I think it's something to at least put down and say, like, hey, it has this. And obviously, priority is just priority, which can always come up super clutch. And then it also has access to Strength Sap, which I really think is great for this mod. Like I was talking about with Will-O-Wisp, its physical defense is awful. But if you pair that with like Will-O-Wisp and Strength Sap and stuff like that, this thing can get really annoying and hard to kill because you're not going to really break through it very well from the special side with most things. And then physically, if you're positioned poorly against it and it can get up a free sub and start throwing off Strength Saps and Will-O-Wisp and stuff like that, it can be pretty annoying to take down. So I think that's definitely a very, very viable option on this thing. And lastly, just a couple more support moves. Like I said, this thing's support move pool is much, much deeper than its offensive move pool and stuff like that, which again I think we should get into here in a second after this slide. But gets access to Trick, which can obviously be great for crippling walls. Say their Trick is an Umbreon, they switch in, you trick at a Choice Specs or you trick at a Choice Scarf or something like that, and really neuter it from being that bulky, annoying presence. That could potentially really annoy you. Gets access to Light Screen, Reflect, so dual screens and Memento, so this helps facilitate other team members in order to sweep, not just Polteageist, Click, and Shell Smash. You got a Dragon Dance. What Dragon Dance mod would we think? I guess we go Komodo. Dragon Dance Komodo or like Clangorous Soul Komodo. That could obviously really help it in that sense. So I think that would be obviously super, super solid. Those are going to be the moves, though. Do you want to jump into the sets? First off, we're going to talk about just the most basics that you can really think when you're looking at Polteageist. It's going to be a Shell Smash set. Focus Sash, Weak Armor, Shell Smash, Shadow Ball, Storm Power, Giga Drain / Dark Pulse. The last move's kind of up in the air depending on the matchup. Giga Drain is its best thing in order to hit Dark types, though. So I think that's something you're going to potentially want to run. I should have put that on the move slide. I don't know why I didn't. But you're going to have the Focus Sash to guarantee get off your boost. Shell Smash, Shadow Ball, Storm Power. Shadow Ball is going to be doing a lot of damage at +2. Storm Power, like I said, once you get those 6 boosts, it's going to be doing a decent amount. And then if you can get a Weak Armor boost on top of that and preserve your Sash, your Storm Powers are going to be doing an absolute ton. So I think that's very, very nice for this thing. Being able to throw off, big Shadow Balls and stuff like that. Again, the only problem with this thing is it just doesn't hit bulky Spadef Darks like Scrafties and Umbreons and ones like that. You can kind of switch in on this all day. Drapion, you can kind of switch in on this thing all day and really just take it out, which is obviously definitely less than desirable. It obviously can't get Shirt Trap this gen, which is big. I will say that is very, very nice for this thing. However, it's going to be forced out a lot, which is not something you really want with your endgame sweeper. So you will have to take care of those dark types in the meantime. But if you can do that, or your opponent just doesn't really have a good dark, this thing can go crazy. Just about as crazy as something like a Calm and Reuniclus can go against a team without a dark. So that's obviously super, super nice. Next up, we have a pretty fun set here. I mentioned Nasty Plot before. While I don't think that it's as good as potentially Shell Smash or something like that, I think it has its niche uses. And say you have a matchup where you think +2 Polteageist goes in, especially if you boost your speed and your special attack, but you don't want to lower your defenses or anything like that. Something you can potentially go with is another Focus Sash set with the Weak Armor ability. You can go Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, Giga Drain, and Endure. And Endure will allow you to live pretty much any physical hit and guaranteed proc your Weak Armor, which is very, very nice. The Endure is for if your Focus Sash gets broken, potentially by switching in a Spike or some rocks or something like that. Or even taking a hit prior. I think that can be potentially really, really nice. Or even just guaranteeing that you get it to +4 can be really, really, really clutch. So I think this can potentially be very solid as well. Just depending on the matchup, depending if you really don't want the defense in the Spadef boost initially at the very least, I think this can be pretty big for that. Next up, we have a defensive set. We're rocking out with a Cold Rare with this spread. Max HP, max defense, Shadow Ball, Strength Sap, Will-O-Wisp, Sub, or Memento. This thing is going to force a lot of prep from the Shell Smash side of things. People are going to look at Polteageist, they're going to think, oh no, I don't want to lose to this thing. You can really cripple some annoying mons to this thing. Say you're facing a Drapion. Your opponent thinks you're going to hard smash fast, they go into said Drapion and they're going to try and knock you off and potentially knock you out or something like that. You throw off a big Will-O-Wisp. They're going to come in, they're going to take that Will-O-Wisp, then they're going to try and knock you off. You're not going to take very much from it. You're going to strength step up, and you're essentially going to 1v1 that thing with a little bit of prior chip, or at least really, really cripple it for something in the back. Substitute is if you want to 1v1 set things. Memento is more so if after Will-O-Wisping and strength sapping and stuff like that and getting off a hit, you want a Memento and getting a threat in the back to set up and potentially take home a game, or just at least get a free switch in. That's obviously a really nice option for this. So I think that defensive role can actually prove to be very nice in some matchups, especially when your opponent hard pressed for that big shell smash sweeper. This is an option I really, really like. This is going to be a sub-hex set. So lefties, Curse Body ability, max attack, max special attack, max speed, timid nature, Hex, Willow, sub, strength sap. Now this set is looking to take advantage of the beefy attack set that you have along with Will-O-Wisp and Hex. More so probably slower, fatter teams. I think this set really does well. You can sub and strength sap to keep yourself healthy, which is obviously super nice. And then Will-O-Wisp Hex really does go in. If you can burn pretty much everything on your opponent's team, you're going to be able to do a lot of damage, even without boosting your special attack or anything like that. Unfortunately, this thing is going to be stuck with that base 70 speed, because you're not boosting your speed with weak armor or the shell smash. I think Curse Body is very nice on the set as well, because you can substitute and potentially get that 30% disable on your opponent. And if they only have that one coverage move for Polteageist, that's actually really, really solid for it. So I think Sub Hex is actually a pretty slept on set when it comes to Polteageist. Then next up, lastly, we're going to have a dual screen set. It says Focus Sash here. That's because I forgot to write in Light Clay. I think this is much better with Light Clay. Focus Sash definitely works, but I definitely like Light Clay on this. You're going to be max attack, max speed, max HP, Light Screen, Reflect, Memento, and Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball can be subbed out for like a Will-O-Wisp or something like that. Another support move, maybe a Baton Pass, but I do like not being taunt bait personally. I don't like Pokemon that lose to taunt, and if you don't have an attack move, you obviously lose to taunt. I guess you can go Mental Herb on it, but I'm kind of going off on a tangent. This is another great way to lure in those potential Dark-type threats. You get up a Reflect, a Light Screen, your Memento, then you go into your Terrakion, you click Swords Dance and Rock Polish, and you win the game. So I think this thing can actually be pretty nuts in that fashion. I think it really does kind of help facilitate its teammates in order to sweep, opposed to having it itself sweep, which can be very, very valuable. And then it still offers that big threat of being the Shell Smash sweeper itself, so your opponent's going to have to play around it very correctly. They're going to have to kind of make some guesses and identify on team preview what the win cons are, and really prep well, or this thing can be incredibly annoying for your opponent to build against and play against and stuff like that. So all in all, I would say that I definitely slept on Polteageist a little bit too much. I did not think it was going to be very good in draft at all, but then when I looked a little bit more into it, it's a lot more potential that I think is definitely untapped in this thing. As for partners and things you might want to do with Polteageist, while Polteageist can help other Pokemon set up, I think having Pokemon that help it set up are going to be really nice. So Memento support and stuff like Whimsicott can be super clean. It gives you momentum into it with U-turn, or it gives you just that Memento, which can be really cool. If you're playing post-home, it gets Prankster Defog to keep those hazards away, keep your Focus Sash, which can obviously be really clean. I also like the option of Grimmsnarl. I think Grimmsnarl is probably the best partner for Polteageist, simply because it gets those dual screens, and it's a fairy type to threaten those dark type switches in on them very well, as well as the fact that Polteageist can facilitate a very good Grimmsnarl sweep if you're bulk out Grimmsnarl. So I think they actually pair phenomenally. I think a good fighting type is great with this. I think good strong hazard control is great with this. I just think this